Both players ready for action. It should be a cracker. It always is enjoyable to watch the best player in the world ply his trade. And although he's got an excellent record against Fernando González, I think the Chilean possesses enough weaponry that if he plays well and Federer is not quite at the top of his game, then he stands an outside chance. We shall see. Federer to get us underway.
Well, you made mention of the fact Federer has won 6 consecutive times against González, but more importantly, he's only lost 1 set in those previous 6 encounters.
It's a comfortable opening service game.
First game.
Federer has enjoyed an outstanding season. He's been virtually unbeatable. He's only lost 4 matches. All of those have been to the Spaniard, Rafael Nadal, in the final of the hardcourt event in Dubai. Of course, in the final of Monte Carlo as well, the Clay Court Masters Series event at the beginning of the European Clay Court season. That epic final in Rome, which lasted over 5 hours, the one that Nadal won in 5 sets. And then, of course, lost to the Spaniard again in the final of the French Open, which, it has to be said, was a little disappointing. González has been making his way to the net more regularly this week under the guidance of Larry Stefanki, and he's been in excellent form of late. He's won 13 of his last 17 matches.
Well, you mentioned Stefanki, and that'll be interesting to see what Stefanki is able to impose, the type of game plan with González, because previously González never doing very well with Federer, so obviously a psychological edge for Federer, but now Stefanki having a chance to make his mark with González.
From the United States, lives over on the West Coast, a little bit of a chatterbox. He was a good player in his own right, worked with a lot of top players, including Marcelo Rios, Evgeny Kafelnikov, Tim Henman. He's got a good track record.
13.
It's nice for a player to have somebody like Stefanki in his corner, gives them a lot of confidence. And I think that González hasn't really fulfilled his potential as yet. Definitely can become a better match player. He's certainly an exceptionally good ball striker. But there is a big difference between the two. And if Stefanki does his job well, then we'll see a rise up the rankings from González.
Well, Federer now shows you his ability to do it all. He keeps González well behind that baseline, and then coming in so confidently, just keeps that wrist firm to make the volley, doesn't overplay it. That last serve by González only 163 kph, but what a smart serve down break point. In the past, he would have gone for a big blaster, using his mind better to help him.
Just adding a little bit of spin, making sure that the topspin took Federer out of court. Half the time, Federer doesn't even look like he's trying.
Well, when you have that kind of amazing talent, that's what it looks like from the greatest in all sports. They just make it look so easy, and you just know it isn't. The way he's able to use his wrist on the backhand and hit those kind of shots, almost unheard of.
Well, it can be disconcerting when you play against the world number one. When you notice the ease with which Federer is able to dismantle your game. It's all about timing. He never appears to be muscling the ball at all. Variation is superb. He has the ability to surprise the opposition. He's got off to an excellent start here.
I think that's a great point about muscling the ball. You don't ever see him muscle the ball unless he's playing Nadal on the clay. Then you see him forcing shots, and that's when his game breaks down.
And the trouble, too, when you come up against Federer is that you just have to expect balls that would be winning shots against other players to come back. And it's not something that's easy to get used to. Especially in such a short space of time. You've got to hit the ground running against Federer, otherwise you've got absolutely no chance. Well, a couple sloppy forehands this game from Federer. He's gone from defense to offense, but moving in on the forehand, a couple have got away from him. And that's been one of his problems, at least in the last couple matches he's played. Yeah, I'm sure Stefanki won't like that. A second serve at 15-30. González electing to go about 5-6 feet behind the baseline rather than trying to take the ball early and impose his will on Federer. Superb technique on that backhand volley, short backswing. It threw the ball with just the merest hint of slice. Well, González had a chance in that game, and when you play against the best players in the world, you have to make the most of your opportunities. Federer leads 3-love first set.
More great tennis to come, tennis fans, but right now it's time for our Toronto Sun.
And the difficult thing about playing against Federer, other than the fact he's an unbelievably great player, is that when he gets ahead of you and he comes out of the gate so quickly, you can't even catch your breath. And someone like González, who we know is very good against other players in terms of jumping on top of them, doesn't have the ability, or hasn't shown that ability in the previous matches with Federer. And so always having to play from behind against the world #1, certainly an ominous situation. And tonight, Federer just getting off to a perfect start, getting the early break. And you have to figure that González coming out a little bit nervous, not being able to dictate play like he had in his previous matches.
Well, González has played some good players this week, none more so than Ivan Ljubicic, who's currently ranked #4 in the world, defeated him 7-6 in the third, but this is a big step up from there.
Yeah, I mean, as good as Ljubicic is, the #4 player in the world, González has beaten Ljubicic, so he has the confidence that he can beat him. Against Federer, he's never beaten Federer, so what a different task ahead for him. And against Ljubicic, González kept making that shot, that short backhand. But now he knows he's playing against someone who's better, and that puts more pressure on him. He comes out of his comfort zone.
Let's
That's what happens when you're struggling at the beginning of a match against the best player in the world. You tend to try and go ever closer to the line. Of course, that can mean that you can start to make a few too many untimely, unforced errors.
15-13.
González is such an emotional player, and I'm sure he's trying to prove to Stefanki and his camp that he's up for the task of taking on Federer. With Horacio de la Peña, he didn't have any success, so you know tonight he's trying a little bit harder just to show them what he can do.
Game Federer.
Well, frustration, I think, the overriding emotion González and Stefanki will be feeling at the moment, and disappointment. Tonight, their start. Federer's played well, but González hasn't forced him to play exceptionally well in order to gain a 4-love lead.
Everything just going Federer's way, and then having the ability to change the direction of the ball and hit the backhand so cleanly. Everything working for the world #1.
Well, Federer has been invincible in North America over the last couple of years. If he wins this evening, it'll be the 53rd match in a row that he's been able to do so in this part of the world. So far this year, he's played 64 matches and won 60 of them. see the reason why when he hits his ground strokes as well as he has done in this game. González has only won 6 points in the set so far. Federer has won all 5 games.
Well, he's having trouble. He's trying to figure out how at least to get on the scoreboard, and it's been a combination of a couple things. His poor play, the number of unforced errors that he's making, certainly playing someone at a much different level than he's faced thus far in the tournament. His matches against Lubicic, who he defeated in 3 tough sets, his match against Akasuso. Obviously, those players not at the same level as what he's seen tonight. And he's sort of caught in the moment. He hasn't been able to find his feet. He's been forcing shots. And the other thing is Federer playing the best match of his tournament so far. So that combination doesn't spell out well for González.
When you are competing at any level, really, there are certain players that you match up well against. Your game doesn't suit theirs, therefore you have a lot of success against them, and I think this is one of those cases. Obviously, the other side of the coin is there are players that you don't like playing against, that you struggle to come to terms with their game plan, and I think that's the case as far as Federer is concerned when he comes up against Rafael Nadal, and perhaps even to a certain extent David Nalbandian, who has an excellent record against Federer too. But I just think that González finds it very, very difficult to hurt Federer in any area of his game, and that's why the world number 1 has won all 6 of their previous meetings very comfortably, and I think it's also one of the reasons why he started off so very well this evening.
Well, he'd be well off to try to hold this game and at least get some positive rhythm going into the second set, because he doesn't want to lose 6-love. It's very negative. One of the few unforced errors from Federer in this set. That ball actually, he's been making it and should have made it.
Yeah, Coach Tony Roach, who was watching at home back in Australia, won't be pleased with that. Had one of the best backhand volleys ever in Australia.
Cheers.
Present company accepted, of course. It's only the 4th point in this set that González has won when he's got his first serve in. It's amazing.
Game, González.
Well, that's better. And it's got the crowd involved too, which will help.
Federer's 5 games to 1.
Salvaged some pride at the very least. And some nice variation there from Federer, throwing in a big topspin serve, only 158k. Got the ball up nice and high. Coming in behind it was a nice surprise too. Set point.
Game, first set, Federer.
Utterly dominant from start to finish, the world number 1. Only lost 2 points on serve throughout.
Utter domination by the world number 1, continuing to play mind games with Fernando González. Just seems that the game, the matchup, really suits Federer far better than it does González.
Well, if Federer plays anybody, really, Nadal included, and he serves as well as he did in that opening set, obviously he's going to be very, very difficult to break. And then, of course, if you back that up by not making that many unforced errors from the back of the court and still playing aggressively and mixing your tactics up, as he did there, won 6 of 7 points at the net, then it becomes very difficult to know what to do when you're playing against him.
Yeah, you pretty much go into panic mode, and that's what we saw from González. But the good news was at least González did get on the scoreboard. At least he can realize that he can hold his own serve. That's something that he has control over.
If you get 71% of first serves in, but you're only winning 33% of the points, surely you've got to put a bit more mustard on that.
Well, that's, I'm sure, something he's going to do in the second set. Well, it's really important now for González to do a little bit more with the serve. His first serve percentage was excellent in the first set, but it wasn't getting the job done. The quality of the serve must be much better against someone like Federer, who moves so well and returns the ball so much better than the previous opponents of González.
You've always got to vary your game plan depending on how well your opponent's playing on any given match.
Throughout this week, González has done well to vary the serve, mixing it up with pace and spin. But the thing is, the players he was playing, the Ljubicic, the Agasuso, they would give him the unforced errors. Federer is making every ball back in play. And that's what you have to do. You have to be more aggressive if you're González.
Well, that's a game plan that comes very naturally to him. It'll be interesting to see whether he can do that whilst also keeping his unforced error count nice and low.
Well, that's great hustle from González, because it looks like he's in trouble of being down double break point, but he gets the ball back in play and at least creates Federer to make the error. Federer not expecting to have to hit that extra ball.
A lot more pace on that one. 209 kilometers an hour.
Game.
Much better start.
First game, second sentence.
The question is now, can he keep it up?
Yeah, well, he did what he needed to do. He needed to hold his own serve and become aggressive with those first serves. He did it. But Federer himself has had very little problems in holding his serve, and you see that he's really trying to go at the González backhand, not only on first serves, but the amount of accuracy on the backhand in both the deuce and the ad side, and the consistency at which he's winning points on that second serve, not having to hit too many of them, but being successful. So his strategy is to really pick on the González backhand.
Chance here. First break point for González.
Outguessing González. Federer has been serving at the González backhand throughout all of this match, and then he outfoxes González, knowing González wants to rip a forehand on a second ball.
Sometimes it's hard when you win a first set as comfortably as Federer did to maintain your concentration early on in the second. Another opportunity here for the Chilean.
Well, he's definitely taken it up a notch in the second set, doing a lot more with the ground strokes and hitting more balls in the court.
This is his charge. There's absolutely no doubt about that. He's got to try and make the most of it. He has built a little bit of momentum in the last 5 or 10 minutes. He's got to take advantage of these half chances, though. Third break point. That was the one shot that didn't work for him very well last night against Jose Acasuso.
He's hitting the ball too flat. Probably needs to just stay with the nice chip cross court, work the point instead of trying to hit the winner. Because even if he hits that ball in, Federer's going to get it back.
Federer liked that one.
Well, unlike González, Federer has had a lot of success hitting winners tonight. At forehand, his fourth winner, 10 in all. González with no backcourt winners or shots from the forehand yet.
Nothing wrong with those skills in the forecourt. There's no doubt about the fact that this year, certainly as far as I'm concerned, he is trying to come into the net a little bit more, develop the confidence to be able to do that when he needs it most. And he needs it most when he comes up against Rafael Nadal.
And against Nadal, Federer came in a lot in Rome and had great success. Came in about 80 times, but he stopped doing it at the French Open, which surprised me after he had so much success in Rome. Well, this is the shot you love from Federer. That's that little low slice. Not easy to play, but he plays it just so comfortably and then covers the net. And there's no way for him to really miss that last ball.
Tactic.
14-15.
Well, a little bit of variety. He surprised Federer by coming in, and he also shows the fact that he knows how to volley.
Important game to win. Have to work hard for it though.
González leads 2-1.
putting up a much better fight in this second set.
Well, a much better start to this set than the beginning of the match for González. Obviously was anxious and nervous coming out, trying to make an impression not only on Federer, but on the crowd and on his new coach. It's all about the determination of these players and really just playing one point at a time, not worried about what's happened in the past or what happened in yesterday's matches. It's all about what's happening right now. González showing the variety off the backhand with the top spin and the slicing, and Federer doing the same off of his ground strokes. These balls staying very low. The balls are heavy this week. And one of the problems that Federer's had, at least in these last couple games, is with those little short, low balls. He's snatching at the forehand. That's why González has had more success in the second set.
We saw González coming into the net quite a lot in his previous matches. I think one of the problems for him this evening is that he just hasn't been able to get up the court and come into the net on his own terms. He's only made it into the forecourt on 4 occasions. He's won 3 of them. Against players ranked a little lower, he was able to pick and choose when to come into the net and had a lot of success in doing so. Against Federer, he's just been forced onto the back foot the majority of the rallies, given the quality of Federer's forehand and backhand.
Against Akasuso, against Ljubicic, he could move them around, he could find a weakness. With Federer, he moves so well, there really is no weakness.
Slightly too close for comfort. No challenge from González. Just constant pressure of having to hit second, third, fourth shots. Most of the time, when González hits those big forehands cross court, he opens up the court and is able to do something with the next ball. Not against Federer. Well, he was able to get into the net so quickly there and so close to it because González was standing way back behind his own baseline to return it. Federer serving exceptionally well in the match so far. He's only lost 7 points on serve throughout the match, and interestingly, just 1 when he's been down to his slightly weaker offering. Looks very comfortable serving and volleying this evening.
2 games.
He's been practicing hard before this event with his coach Tony Roach in the Middle East. That's where they like to have their training camps. I guess it's a way of meeting halfway, really. Tony, of course, resident in Australia. Roger living in Europe. Not that he gets to spend too much time there. González has been here in North America since Wimbledon. And surprisingly lost in the 3rd round to David Ferrer of Spain and played in Indianapolis and LA.
And the bad thing for González, when you make that kind of error on the opening point of a game, immediately you start to get negative and you give confidence to Federer.
You just put yourself under so much pressure. Federer can sense it. He manages to find the clutch, make the most of a half chance.
And that's what he needs to do. He needs to serve at that level on a consistent basis.
Please.
That's foolish. Good body serve. All he had to do is take his time on the forehand. You don't have to go for the lines.
But on the one hand, you're saying he's got to be aggressive, and he's got to step up to the line and be aggressive, and that means you're going to miss the occasional shot. In the first set, he wasn't being aggressive enough, and he wasn't winning any points.
But the serve was good and aggressive. The second ball needed to be played with precision, and the thing is, he played too close to the lines. That forehand, normally against someone else, he's not going to play it that close to the line.
He's hanging in there, that's for sure.
Well, Federer is human, and González has to realize that. Even though that first set he seemed to be something more than that, this set Federer has shown he's going to make a few errors. If González is able to generate good enough serves to where he has short balls, just take your time. Don't rush. You don't have to play it that close to the lines. Play it like you did the last point.
González. Cheers. Mr. González, challenge, ball on the right near side.
He's going to have a closer look. We're going to go into the virtual world of Hawkeye.
I think he's going to be disappointed.
Well, his fans are too. As Larsgraf says, the calling does indeed stand. And we're back to deuce. This again now turning into a very important service game.
Advantage, Federer.
Well, you've got to remember in the first set he was winning 35% of points when he got his first serve in, so we said that the quality of the serve wasn't quite good enough. So in the second set he's got to be a little bit more aggressive. He has served better, there's no doubt about that. The first serve percentage absolutely outstanding. He's made 18 of 20, but still Federer has break point. And that's more like it, 220 kilometers an hour.
Cheers.
There's no doubt about the fact that he has tried to up the tempo in this second set. I think it's worked well, something that he had to do, even if it means missing the occasional shot.
Advantage Federer.
That's what happens if the second serve is average. Federer well inside the baseline, taking that ball on the rise, using the pace of the serve, and just simply redirecting the ball. Superb timing.
Now that's the kind of response you want to see. And that's a great time for the first ace of the match for Gonzo. Last week, González and Stefanki really working on his serve, because when he lost in Los Angeles, he was serving a lot of spin serves, and Stefanki didn't quite understand why someone with that kind of serve would do that.
Good use of the body serve, tying Federer up. Very difficult to swing freely at the ball when you don't have enough room to do so. Just ducked his head a little bit there. Didn't hit up on the ball.
And he's playing in patches, much like we saw him for the last few years.
But that's because it's so difficult to play your very best tennis all the time, and Federer forces his opponents to do that just to stay in contention. It's exactly the same as yesterday evening against Xavier Melisse. Melisse was able to do it for much of the match, but not through all of it. And there were patches within it where he simply couldn't live with the world number one.
But maybe González is figuring something out now about Federer. Federer making 8 unforced errors in this set, 7 coming off of the forehand.
A vital game for González to win to stay in contention. No breaks as yet in this second set.
Time for today's American Express Aces Challenge. The American Express Aces program is a wonderful initiative for every ace on center court in Grand.
Done well in this second set, because it's sometimes easy when you get overawed by the occasion and your opponent in a set that only lasts 21 minutes. It's exactly what happened here this evening, and it's very easy sometimes to just go into your shell.
Particularly when you've played the guy 16 previous sets and only taken 1. It's got to be very difficult to say, well, what can I do? And how to avoid that, or how you avoid that, makes you that much of a stronger competitor, or sometimes guys just go away.
Close with no cigar. Lubitsch with 41. But we're playing our game today, the American Aces, American Express Aces program. Laura takes home a great bag. Compliments of American Express. Enjoy the rest of the match, fans. And remember, thanks to American Express, and cheer on those Aces.
It's been an enjoyable evening so far. The tennis in the opening set was absolutely superb. How close do you think Federer is to playing his best tennis? He said he wasn't quite happy with his movement at the beginning of the week, but he said the rest of his game was falling into place very nicely indeed, and he felt he was ahead of schedule.
Yeah, I think he's within 10% of playing his best on this surface, and I disagree with him. I think the movement is flawless. I think, if anything, he needs to tighten up the forehand a little bit.
I'll mention that to him a little later. That he needs to.
That I disagree with him.
That he needs to tighten up his forehand a little bit. 2-3.
15 love. Thank you.
Looks like it needs a little bit of work.
Yeah, well, but also the movement. You can't hit shots like that if you don't get to the ball properly. And he gets to so many balls, more balls than most of the players.
Oh!
13.
Brilliant. González at his very best.
Well, this ball is smacked 153 kmh, and that's what we've seen him do to get to the semifinal. Off the forehand and on the run.
Half chance here.
Well, it just gives him a sniff. It's like he's playing with him.
It was a relatively good return. You can't really do much more than that when Federer gets his first serve in, and then you end up just scuttling behind the baseline. You can't even get your racket on the ball. Super stuff.
Well, what you really like from Federer there, when he was under pressure on his serve, came in with good first serves to take the pressure off.
Yeah, his first serve percentage, absolutely exceptional this evening. 71% for the match, 70% in this second set. And he's winning an awful lot of points when he misses the first serve too. 83% for the match, 86% in this set. But that was a little over-ambitious, even for the best player on the planet. I think that's what Federer means by movement. Didn't quite get the feet in the right position there. That's why he ended up shanking the shot.
Yeah, well, his timing is off, if anything, this week on the forehand more so than the backhand, and you're seeing it in this second set with all the unforced errors. It just moves a little bit easier to the backhand side.
González remaining in contention in this second set, helped in no small part by the unforced errors coming off Federer's forehand. 10 in total now in this second set.
Well, he's becoming a much better match player. In the past, if he would have had an opening set like that, he would have come out just firing away in the second set, hoping to catch on. And if he didn't, well, he could say it just wasn't his day. But you just like the maturity that's come with the Chilean. And he's really figuring out how to play tennis, how to construct points. And he's also realizing that there's some weakness there with Federer with the forehand right now, and he's taking advantage of it. So he's allowing himself to really compete in this match and have a chance. That's all you can ask of someone when they're playing against someone as good as Roger Federer. Find a way to stay in the match and compete.
Time in the set when you would expect either player to make his move, but particularly Federer. So good, playing well enough any given time in the match to get the job done.
Well, I love this play from Federer. It's a delayed approach. He waits, sees where the ball lands. He knows González is behind the baseline, and that's why he's so effective with that.
I don't think there's anything wrong with the tactic per se. Keeps the server guessing. Even if you miss the shot, makes him think that next time on a big point, might make it.
You know, first it's the little short backhand down the line with the wrist, and then the extreme angle with the wrist. He can hit that backhand anywhere he wants effectively.
Game Federer. 4 games off.
That's a lovely variation off the backhand, and the same on the serve. Just 151 kilometers now, that last one, but he a little bit of extra spin on it in order to get the ball nice and high over the net, but for it to also drop nice and short up the single sideline. And of course it really grips onto the court surface here. This court does take spin very well, especially top spin off the serve, and that one proved a little too much for González to handle. This match, certainly the second set, nicely poised.
And remember, both these players have faced break points, González 3 and Federer 3, but they've played excellent tennis facing those break points on their own serve.
Measured backhand.
Well, this is a perfect time for his first winner off that side in this match. It wasn't easy. He had to get down low to the ball, and he also had to hit the ball inside out.
González has really served an awful lot better in this second set than he did at the beginning of the match. It certainly helped his cause. He leads 5-4, second set. Do you think Federer wins a lot of his matches relatively comfortably, and sometimes there's a danger, just like he did this evening, in winning the first set so easily and him playing so well that he just finds it hard to maintain his concentration, focus and motivation for the duration of the match?
Undoubtedly. It's a problem. If there's any problem, I think it's one of his biggest problems. I saw him winning the first set against Tursunov and then having to go 3 sets. Last night against Melise, the same thing. So it's become a pattern. It's almost like he gets a bit bored, so he starts trying things in the second set. When he starts to try things, he makes some mistakes. His opponents get some confidence, and then he's forced to have to take it up a notch, but typically he does that in the third set. So it's almost like he plays with an off and on switch, and I think that's a dangerous way to play.
One of Federer's great strengths is the fact that he's able to respond to adversity exceptionally well. Sometimes it does appear as if he can fashion shots by magic when he needs them most. He's under a considerable amount of pressure here if González can get up early in this game. Federer served exceptionally well so far in the match. The question is, can he continue to do so when it really matters with the new balls? 4-5. Well, he has managed to find a way into the net fairly regularly this evening, and with an awful lot of success too. That last one, though, was a little too close for comfort.
Only the second point this match where González has been able to win a point on the Federer second serve.
Well, I think González might challenge this. There was no call from the lines person. It was a difficult one for him to see because Federer was backpedaling near the baseline. It was a good tactic to use. But I don't think there's any doubt about the fact that the ball was long. Good intervention by Lars Graf. Now's the chance for González to take a little bit of a risk, as he did so successfully on the second point of the game, especially if he gets a look at his second serve.
Lots of courage from Federer.
14-13.
Big first serve again. Mirka will like that, but coming in on that second ball and swinging on that overhead, that was dropping quickly.
Yeah, it was a tough shot. such good variation. It wasn't about the pace at all. It was only 180k. But it was the fact that he can hit any serve off the same toss. González was moving in completely the wrong direction. Federer so adept at choosing the right moment to vary his tactics. 5-all.
Well, every time he gives González a little bit of sniff or a hope that he can do something, he takes it up a notch.
And again, it's the forehand that lets Federer down. 16 unforced errors in this second set for the Swiss. 12 of them have come off that particular wing.
He's certainly not the same guy that he was in the first set. He was flawless.
Brilliant. Constructed the point perfectly. Playing the right shot at the right time. Much to admire in that game from González.
González leads 16-55.
Well, he's been serving extremely well in the second set. We said he had to take it up a notch, and he's been able to do so. Facing 3 break points early, but he responded well, and then showing us the variety that he's been able to implement throughout the week with the slice backhand, obviously still having that huge forehand. And on that particular point, his eyes light up when he realizes he has a chance to hit the ball back behind Federer and catch the world #1 by surprise with the winner. Determination, and Gonzo loves looking at himself on the screen, particularly when he wins the point. With a little bit of kiss action in the background, rock and roll every night. He's trying to rock and roll and get into this third set.
Well, these two have played 16 sets. This is the 17th, and González has only ever won 1. That was in 2005 in Monte Carlo when he took Federer to 3 sets before the world #1 came through 6-4 in the third. So he's got an opportunity here to win this second set. 5-6. Now, González with the upper hand. Federer under just that little bit more pressure. Desperate, I think, for first serve, and it'll be interesting to see what González does if he gets a look at a second. That one just long. Indecision from Federer then.
A lot of indecision. Normally he would step up and volley that ball, but he waited, and when you hesitate, even world number one has a problem.
Brilliant. Both the return and the backhand, too much for Federer to handle. Finally, something for the Chilean fans to get really excited about. Federer under the cosh. González with 3 set points. That'll do it. How quickly things can change. Federer had served exceptionally well throughout the match until that point. And González, to his credit, took full advantage of it. We've got a match on our hands.
Well, you must applaud what we saw from González in that set, but Federer really playing dangerously, in my opinion. Had chances early on to get the lead in that second set with the early break, didn't get it, let González breathe and stay in there, and then González was able to take advantage of some of those errors, particularly all the errors coming off of the Federer forehand in that set.
González, remember, in the first set was winning just 33% of the points when he got his first serve in, so a huge plus for the Chilean in that second set, the fact that he started to be a bit more aggressive with the serve and keep the first serve percentage up high.
Well, he was just spinning the ball in the first set. He obviously realized he needed to come in with bigger, more aggressive serves, and he was able to do so while keeping the percentage healthy.
Federer will be disappointed he wasn't able to convert any of his 3 break points. González absolutely delighted. He hung in there and he was rewarded in the end. Can't have been easy when he lost the opening set after just 21 minutes of humiliating play, really. But he does have an awful lot of courage. The question is now, is he going to be able to keep his level of play up? And is Federer going to respond positively to the loss of that second set, as he's done twice previously this week?
Well, González showed us that he didn't let the first set bother him. Now we're going to see how Federer responds if that second set and all those errors, if they bother him.
wonder a few fans of González thinking now that he might be taking on Richard Gasquet in tomorrow's final. Probably. Whether he will or not remains to be seen. It's still a big ask. There's absolutely no doubt about that. Continues to serve effectively. The question is now, will he be able to break Federer's serve?
Well, he broke him the last time he served, and one of the reasons why González has had success is in the first set, the Federer serve was really keeping González off balance, both the first and the second serves. You can see how far behind the baseline González was playing, really not attacking at all. But in set two, certainly getting closer to the baseline in more attacking mode. And then a lot of those second serves that he's getting, well, he's showing Federer different looks. Because some of them he's stepping in on, and others he's stepping around to hit the forehand, and that's where he can dictate the play.
Federer obviously feeling that some of the ball caught the line. And it didn't.
No, it was not long. No, not long. It was wide. Left and cheek.
That's a better response.
He doesn't like the Hawkeye system, does he?
No, and he doesn't like making all the mistakes he's been making either.
Lovely footwork, very quick to read the situation and understand that it was a good moment to ghost into the net.
Yeah, and what you have to remember to do is to keep coming forward. Just because you set it up, you must close the point out as long as that ball is still above the height of the net.
Ladies and gentlemen, security players, please do not use flash photography during playing. Thank you.
Again, the timing of the advance is absolutely correct.
Oh, he's such a crafty player. And he hasn't been doing that until now. He's throwing something different for González to think about.
Well, Federer continues to vary his serve nicely. Kick serve is very underrated. It really does take off this court surface, bounce up very high, and for a player with a single-handed backhand like González, it's very, very difficult to meet the ball out in front and to be aggressive with it when it's bouncing up higher than shoulder height.
Left cheek. Second.
Steady on Lars. I think we're allowed 2 serves. That's unlucky. It was an audacious try.
15.
Little apology from Lars to Roger. It's not often that he makes a mistake.
Well, the world #1 is definitely struggling right now, and everyone's sensing it. They're feeling it. Even Lars Graf, the umpire, who never makes that kind of error, calls the score wrong. Tension certainly being felt here. González is starting to play similarly to how we've seen him play all week. A lot of chips, a lot of dips, and really with a lot of accuracy, particularly off that backhand side in the slice.
Chips and dips. Are you feeling hungry, though, dude?
Well, I'll tell you what, that was a very safe shot. The clearance over the net was perfect. And yes, I'm always hungry.
If González can make the most of this momentum that he's been able to create, definitely has a good chance of winning this match. Awful lot of tennis still to be played, though.
Well, what's allowed González to get back into this match, in my opinion, are 2 things. Number 1, the quality of his first serve, and then the ability to draw error from Federer, particularly off of the forehand wing. Federer making already 19 in this match. Early on in the opening set, made very few, if any, but in the second set, it really started to break down, and it continues to have trouble early on in the third set. Already 30 unforced errors from Federer, but the forehand giving him a lot of trouble, particularly on the run. That's when he's had the trouble. He's talked about timing and movement. We're seeing the problems on the forehand.
Apart from obviously trying to hit that forehand when he's moving to his right a little bit better and cut down the unforced errors, is there anything different you'd like to see Federer do in this third set?
Well, he has to keep the quality of the first serve very good. He doesn't want to have to rely on second serves. And I'd like to see him try to come in a little bit more. He's had success coming in, particularly in that first set. Took his foot off the gas and stayed away. Continue to go forward when he has the short ball.
Well, he has won 21 of 27 moves to the net, which is very impressive indeed throughout the match. 4 of 5 in this deciding set. And let me tell you, a volley like that is not easy when the ball's coming towards your body and you're having to change direction on the ball and add a little bit of pace to it as well. The technique there, absolutely superb.
And the footwork, particularly on the backhand, just perfect. Roger Federer, you say, too good.
30-18.
And there's nothing you can do about that. You can't legislate for a return of that quality from that position in the court. It's a shame because that too was an excellent return of serve. Surprised, I think, by the quality of the reply from Federer. But you shouldn't be, because Federer, we know, so good at half volleying from the baseline.
Stefanki will love that kind of play because González was able to break down Federer with slices and no pace on the ball, somewhat like what we see Federer do to so many of his opponents. Once again, now Federer in trouble. González playing solidly, playing consistently, and Federer cannot afford to make another mistake.
Simply too good. González has moved up the court. He started to take those returns a little earlier. He shortened the backswing. And he is trying to use the power of the serve to great effect and has surprised Federer twice with that inside-out return from the right court and has been rewarded with a break point. Is that positive enough for you?
Not from González. From Federer, yes. But from González, way too tentative. And when you're playing the world #1, you can't expect that he's going to miss on a ball like that at that crucial stage. He's going to play his best, so you have to play your best and do what got you to that point.
You always like to see the important points won with good tennis, and for luck to not play that big a part. Have to work hard for it. And had more than his fair share of luck as well.
But a scary moment there for Federer down that break point, and I'm sure González, win or lose, when he comes off this court, Stefanki's going to say, on those big break points, you got to stay with what got you there. Don't change a winning pattern. Just doesn't seem very confident to me right now. Even his body language, you look at his face and his shoulders, it's nothing like he was in the opening set.
Mr. González to challenge the call, center service, the ad box, the right side,
Obviously thought that the serve was a good one. Ball was called out. Let's see if it caught a little bit of the line. Nope. Second serve.
One champion.
Just misfiring slightly. Still trying to be aggressive. Those unforced errors could prove very costly indeed, especially off the forehand.
He's got to keep doing that. And this was the first point that González lost on his serve in this third set. And as long as Federer decides to keep coming forward, he can take advantage of some of those slice balls that are setting up. It's much easier to volley those balls than to play them from the back of the court. Now, if you didn't know any better, Jason, I would say that it looks like González is the better player. At this point, he's playing with far more confidence.
The question is, can he keep it up at the business end of the set if he gets an opportunity to win the match? Because we know that he can, on occasion, get a little tight. No doubt about the fact that this is an opportunity for González.
González leads against it.
He edges into the lead once more. Leads 3-2, deciding set.
Rogers 8-pass number. Have a look at the Hog video board.
The pressure now on Federer having to serve second in this third set. We always talk about the advantage being to the person who's serving first, and González doing well to keep that advantage. And for Federer, it's just a matter of trying to find what he was doing in that opening set all over again.
There is a real buzz around this stadium now. I'm sure many are asking the question that I'm going to ask you now, Doug. Can González win this match?
Oh, absolutely. He's very close to it. He had breakpoint chance in this set. Federer has had less chances as this match has gone on the González serve than González against Federer. But Federer needs to keep coming forward. We're noticing that González is beginning to get more and more content with the slice. And the way you counteract that is by coming in like Federer's been doing. Maybe a bit of tension now from Federer, certainly knowing he's never lost to this guy.
Full marks for effort.
Well, a good defensive return first, and then the outstanding first get, and then the second one. And these are not easy overheads to put away, particularly at this time of night. Federer doing well to respond.
Federer certainly riding his luck in this deciding set.
Well, I think you make your luck a lot of times, and even though that was a very fortunate shot, at least he was in at the net, didn't have a great distance to go, and he made it.
Set González wasn't making any of those shots, but given that he's a lot more confident now than he was about an hour and 15 minutes or so ago, he's now starting to time those shots quite beautifully. Courageous shot from Federer. Wasn't easy. Backhand up the line. It was a measured shot. Didn't try and hit it too hard. Had pinpoint accuracy on it. Just enough to draw the error.
Game, Federer.
Good response again from Federer, coming up with big serves under pressure.
New ball, please.
Having to work hard in order to hold serve. The one saving grace really in this deciding set is the fact that he's won 9 out of 10 points at the net, so surely that's what he's got to try and do, especially on the González serve. He's got very little to lose. If he can get the ball back in play and then take advantage of anything slightly short of a length, that would put a lot of pressure on González, who is serving exceptionally well in this deciding set. He's only dropped 1 point on serve so far.
He's really doing everything well in this deciding set. No weaknesses.
Yet to make an unforced error. Sublime.
Well, these are the shots we've become accustomed to seeing from Federer. And this one, the extreme angles, was so close to the net. No way for González to run that ball down. One of the few good forehands he's hit.
Federer starting to enjoy the challenge now.
Yeah, he's into the match. He knows that he's in for the battle. And again, the forehand coming through. That time, the approach not good enough from González, too deep.
Well, we talked about the fact that González does get a little tight when he can see the finish line.
And that his first unforced error of this set, and what a time for it to come.
Sensibly taking his time, but he's in desperate need of a couple of really effective serves here. First break points of this deciding set for Federer. Well, that's brilliant, because Federer actually brought González into the net with the little slice backhand, but the quality of the approach shot was superb. Still, Federer did exceptionally well to put González under that much pressure at the net. But the Chilean will be absolutely delighted with his response at full stretch, but still got a little bit of work to do to get out of this service game unscathed. Raising the level of his game when he needed it most. It was too much for González to handle. And it's Federer now who holds the upper hand in this deciding set. Well, we've come to expect Federer to be able to do that, and he does it week in, week out, but it's still a phenomenal talent to be able to find your best tennis when you need it most. That's what all great match players can do.
It's pretty much what great athletes in sports do. Basketball players, at the end of a game, football players, quarterbacks, receivers. The best in their sport have the ability to take it up that little notch when most needed. And a lot of the normal people look at it as like, well, why would you put that pressure on yourself? Why would you want to have to respond like that? But it's almost like Federer thrives on these moments and almost needs to be tested to be able to perform at this level.
Enjoying watching his exploits in that last game. There was much to admire. Well, leading by a break in the deciding set. Should we all pack up and go home?
Absolutely not. It's important for Federer to keep the variety of the serve, mixing it up, good first serves, and continuing to take advantage of González when he slices that backhand, to keep coming forward and using his volley, which has been so good tonight.
Well, this was the Federer of the opening set. Utterly dominant from the back of the court and forcing González way back behind his own baseline.
Well, that last game, Federer, remember, hit 2 forehand winners, and with those winners comes confidence now off of that side.
It's a very ambitious shot. And suddenly, it looks like there's only going to be one winner in this match, when for a long period of it, González was not only holding his own against Federer, but looking like he was actually playing a little bit better, but at the business end of this set, it's been all the world number one.
Thank you.
He knows how to play.
Ladies and gentlemen, as encouraged to the players, please do not use flash photography during play. Thank you.
It doesn't matter how many times he makes that appeal, it's not going to happen. Many of today's cameras automatically use the flash. Very little you can do. Brilliant. Federer now in a class of his own.
Well, he always seems to hit the right shot. This is what I'm going to say. Go for the lob, and he just always knows what to do at the right time.
Well, that backhand stopping a run of 7 straight points for Federer at the most crucial time in the match. Federer has been utterly dominant at the net throughout the match, really, winning 29 of 35 points, but particularly in this deciding set, winning 12 of 13. And his reward is match point. González has to keep telling himself it's just the one break of serve. If he can somehow save this match point, get through this game, still in with a fighting chance. Federer needed to be at his very best in that deciding set, and he responded exceptionally well to the challenge that was put forth by González. Fireworks both on and off the court. The world number one responding exceptionally well to the pressure that González put on him in that deciding set. He was sublime in the opening set, didn't play as well as he would have wanted towards the end of the second, but we know that he's so adept at playing his best tennis when he needs it most, and that's exactly what he was able to do this evening. Federer through to tomorrow's final, where he'll take on the Frenchman, Richard Gasquet.
Well, the world number one was threatened this evening, and you could see the worry in his face. but I really felt this match turned around after González didn't take advantage of his break point in that all-important third set. He played a tentative point where he'd been playing so aggressively and putting pressure on Federer. He pulled back, and it really hurt him because he wasn't able to get the break. Then in the 7th game, where Federer got his break, all of a sudden Federer's forehand got better. He hit that sharp little angle winner, which gave him confidence on the next play. He had another forehand passing shot, and from that point going forward, Federer's forehand didn't let him down.
Yeah, that was the one shot that he had problems with. 20 unforced errors out of a total of 40 coming off that particular wing. But you're absolutely right, Doug. When it really mattered, that's the shot that worked well for him. Perhaps had he converted more of the 4 break points out of the 10 that he had, he would have won the match in straight sets.
But remember, a lot of those break points were early in the match in the first 2 sets. He didn't really have that many opportunities in the middle of the 2nd and in the 3rd set. He just took advantage of that one opportunity in the 7th game.
González has to be disappointed that he wasn't able to beat Federer tonight, but without a doubt, this is the very best that he's played against the world number 1. But unfortunately, it still wasn't good enough. Well, you can see how delighted Federer was to have been able to get the W this evening. He was stretched to the limit, really, but responded exceptionally well, as he has done, really, throughout the week. Richard Gasquet defeated Andrew Murray earlier in the day in straight sets, and the Frenchman's been playing exceptionally well throughout the week. He will face Roger Federer in tomorrow's final. Confirmation of the results. Gasquet too good for Murray. Must be a little disappointed in his first Masters Series semi-final. It will be interesting to see if Gasquet's allowed to play as well as he has done all week in tomorrow's final.
Yeah, well, you would think probably not. They've met each other. Federer and Gasquet have played 5 previous times. Federer winning 4 of the 5, and those 4 wins coming after the first loss in Monte Carlo.
And that was a terrific match. If we get a match as good as that one, we'll all be absolutely delighted. Well, tomorrow's final is the best of 3 tiebreak sets, remember, and it will take place at 2 o'clock local time. Well, that's all for today. I hope you've enjoyed our coverage of the semi-finals. For Doug Adler, I'm Jason Goodall. Very much looking forward to your company tomorrow because it promises to be an exceptionally good match. Until then, it's goodbye from Toronto.